Hello, my name is Duarte. I'm making this video in order to detail, as the title suggests, why I started learning Japanese. I just thought this was a video I wanted to make, so let's get straight to it. I've been learning Japanese about 2 years now. It's gonna turn 2 years, I think, in a couple of weeks. I think the exact birthday is like November 18th, something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna structure this along like a few lines of thought. I have my notes here. So I think for context, when did I start learning Japanese exactly? Well, yes, it was about 2 years ago, but specifically, like, where was I at? And essentially, why did I start learning Japanese in the first place? So it must have been 2022. I was studying abroad in Finland for one semester, and at the time, so I was in my first year of my master's, so overall fourth year in my university. And the context, like where my head was at, was I was really worried about job prospects in general. So essentially, I've always been a good student. I always worked hard, but at the time I was really insecure regarding like how can I get ahead of everyone else? Like I always felt like I wasn't doing enough, that for some reason I was too late regarding some things that I should be doing, that my colleagues or friends were doing, that that at the time I wasn't doing, right? So while I was in Finland, or rather, when you're studying abroad, you get this input. No, that's a funny word considering we're talking about language learning, but still, you get this input from all these different people. It's such a different experience. You engage in you most likely you are engaging in a different culture than yours. Like it might now how significant that change is. That varies case by case, but to me it was big enough that it made me consider a lot of things. What was I doing? What did I want to do in the future? If I even liked my majors 4 years in. And one of the things that I was thinking about that, could put me ahead of the competition, so to speak, and though in retrospect, that's a pretty fucking stupid way to think about things, you shouldn't, like, it was a non-problem. Like I was making this issue up in my head like it was a non-existent issue. Like everything is going to be fine, right? Especially if you're a person that, works hard and applies. If you apply yourself to things, everything's going to be okay. Like not only did I not need like this issue in my head, right? The ways that I was trying to make a solution weren't going to lead me, even if it was supposed to lead me, theoretically, to like better job prospects, which was what I was worrying about. It wouldn't make me happy. It wouldn't. So what I thought that it would be useful for my career, was language learning. Because I was seeing like a lot of profiles on LinkedIn or something like that of people that spoke like, I don't know, fucking 3-4 languages, for example. So, me being Portuguese, I'm Portuguese. I know Portuguese and English, fluently. So I had two, but I kept thinking that, I need a third one that's gonna set me up above everyone else, like in job interviews. And when you look at my CV, which is like, in retrospect, I really hate that I was, focusing on the way that I presented myself to corporations. It was a sort of personal development that's not personal at all. And if I continued on that path, I either would have given up, which was a really likely scenario. Like I would have given up immediately because it wouldn't be fulfilling. And if I did proceed, because I'm quite stubborn, it would be almost soul sucking. If I just kept with that idea in mind that like I need to elevate myself, with the reason being that I need to please these corporations in order to hire me, so I can be more successful in my career, whatever that means, anyways. So what the language that I thought I was going to learn in order to make me more presentable to the job market was French. This was because, in Portugal, most students, like when they're from the 7th to 9th grade, they either learn French or Spanish. It depends on the school. Sometimes you can choose. In my school, so it must have been middle school, yes, you couldn't pick. It was just French. So I had 3 years of French when I was a kid. Now, that doesn't mean that I remembered at the time, in 2022, any French, but I thought to myself, I can pick it up pretty easily, and then, I can learn the language in like 6 months to a year, and then I can add that to my CV, which, there was also more thought behind it, because French is also one of the most spoken languages in the world. So I was thinking about the applicability of my choice, and how fast, I would be able to accomplish it. And in this case, how fast I would be able to learn the language. Now, both of these are extremely idiotic, because attempting to decode how fast you're going to learn a language based on, gut feeling, now that I would say relatively deep into language learning, it's ridiculous. It's extremely stupid, and it would not work whatsoever. And then speaking French would only be useful if I made something out of it. And that's not necessarily true. Like, considering the path that I'm at, so right now I just submitted my master's thesis and I'm already working, and I need no French whatsoever. French has never been in the vicinity of the choices that I have since made. I'm using my phone to record, so I had to take a call and had to stop the video. But as I was saying, French has had no impact whatsoever, and I don't think it will have in the future regarding my job prospects. Again, showing that truly I didn't need it. Now, that's not particularly fair, because I did start learning Japanese, and I do agree that that was not my intention whatsoever. But I do think it helps, regarding it ends up making myself more presentable anyways. But though that's not my intention, so I think that's the base case scenario, where I'm not learning Japanese for any reason but the reasons that I'm going to dive into later. But it still helps me professionally anyways, so that's still good. But anyways, I wanted to learn French, and for 2-3 days I really convinced myself, it clicked, I was going to learn French, and that would not only satisfy that condition of making me more presentable to companies, but I thought that it would just help myself personally as well, because while I was studying abroad, I was kind of dreading returning to my university. Obviously I miss my friends and my girlfriend and my family. It wasn't about that. It was really more the work life, the study life that expected me. It was going to be more of the same, and I had this injection of adrenaline and thirst for change in Erasmus, the program through which I studied abroad. And I was scared, and I thought I needed something new. So learning French would theoretically check all of these. I did. So I have an older brother, and I called him to, since he's old, and then I really do think he's making, I think he has made all the best choices in his life, regarding, just socially and professionally. I really look up to him. And I called him to, expecting to get validation. He speaks French, by the way. Now, that absolutely has something to do with why I wanted to learn French as well. But he does speak French, because he did some of his masters and his PhD in France. So, it just made sense. Again, that's a fairly different reason to learn a language in the first place, because there you have a real necessity to do it. Again, I had no real incentive whatsoever to learn French. I didn't have to learn French. But I called him. I was I was talking how I was, hanging out with my friends and, taking those classes. It was a great time. It was a wonderful time. And I told him that I had this plan, right? From that point onward, I started making, even after starting learning Japanese, and kind of settling down regarding that, I still made and make a lot of plans and like have these big ideas in my head, most of which will never come to fruition, but that's just who I am. And I told him I'm going to learn French, and because of this and this reason, I think it's going to be helping me in this. And he immediately shut that shit down. He was like, "Why?" He did not even have to give like this super complicated reasoning, or like he just said, "Why?" Like with the stone, like it doesn't suit you. Like why would you, Duarte, in your position, right? Like in your shoes at that point, like why would you want to learn French? Why French in the first place? Like he told me that's dumb, that's stupid. Like not like of course he reaffirmed some of the things that I'm saying now that I didn't need it, but the best thing to come out of the conversation was like, if you're going to learn something, why not learn Japanese? And that sentence really changed everything for me, like personally. It really did, because he was right. Like, why was I going to jump through these like argument hoops to convince myself that I wanted to somehow learn French, because he knew what was going to happen if I did start to try to learn it, right? I would not get through very far, because my motivation was based solely on this like stupid motivation in the first place, right? On this stupid foundation. Like it had no foundation to stand on. So I would not get far at all. And I wouldn't enjoy it. And this is the thing that like I learned the most from that conversation, was I would not enjoy it. And I had to enjoy it. Like just as it was for learning a language or anything. Speaking of those job prospects, the jobs that I would want to get to, it wasn't because I had to learn French to get them. It's just because I would find them interesting. I would think they were good for me. I would think, ideally, not only they were good for me, properly paid, but they were fun. And right now, I do like my job. I do like the people that I work with. And at the time, that was the cataclysm, right? The starting point of like, okay, why wouldn't I not learn Japanese? Because he told me that like if you want to do something, you should do it because you want to. And he even said like, to you, wouldn't it make sense to learn not French, but to learn Japanese? And this is funny to think about. Back then, so a little bit of context, right? I am a huge weeb. I don't know if you can see, like, there's a Gundam over here, and like there's the entire Hunter manga. But like I'm a huge nerd for Japanese culture ever since I was a kid. I've always loved anime, manga, Japanese video games. Eventually, like dipping into things like J-dramas, like tokusatsu, like other Japanese movies. Like I love the culture. I've always loved it, and it's not like I've always wanted to learn Japanese. Like, I don't recall that as being like a dream of mine. But I have to assume that deep inside, it was like something that settled inside of me when I was a kid. That notion, that idea that someday I could be speaking or reading or listening in Japanese, right? And didn't need either subtitles or waiting for manga to be translated, which was a huge pain when I was younger, like browsing through internet forums looking for raw manga that I could not read because they were in Japanese and they were not translated, and I just had to look at them. I remember downloading this manga called Osu Karatebu, which is essentially it's just a martial arts manga about karate club in high school and the delinquents. Shout out to one of the best manga genres, by the way. And I remember just downloading the files and just staring at the pages. Like, I wonder what they're saying. So in retrospect, I do think it makes sense that the moment that I started to learning Japanese, or rather, not even the moment that I started learning Japanese, the moment I started considering it right away, it clicked. Like it somehow, it really felt like I found my purpose, like, which is ridiculous. Like I'm not Japanese, I'm just a Portuguese dude, you know? Like, I'm 23, well, at the time I was 21, but like, I don't know, like it just felt right. Which, you know, I could get into, and I do want to make a video about like how my perspective on like culture and identity and language are changing over time the more I learn Japanese. But I don't want to dive too deep into that topic. So my brother said to me, okay, why won't you learn Japanese? Like it makes more sense. Like, and it does. It did. He was 100% correct. I hadn't like the ideas and like the rationality I've been, you know, housing in my head for weeks when I was studying abroad. I did not tell a single thing to my brother, but he somehow managed to perceive that right away, deconstruct it, and just tear it apart in order to, you know, provide me with actually great advice, which is it's as simple as just do what you want to do what you love. And I love manga, I love anime, and it felt natural, you know, if I do want to start picking up a language, you know, why not something that I would actually enjoy? And like I said, in retrospect, I do genuinely think it is now. I'm not proficient in Japanese in any way. I'm still myself, I don't know. I consider still myself beginner always. I think I'm going to be beginner until I'm fluent. That's how I look at it. But I do think that like studying Japanese like every single day has made me not only a better person, but also more presentable to companies because it is something that I advertise. And it has just helped me across like a lot of things in life besides, you know, having a new fun hobby. So that's when I started learning Japanese, right? So it was November 2022 in Vasa, Finland. So I've already talked about a bit of why I started to learn Japanese, but I think I want to say why I do still want to learn Japanese, you know, like almost 2 years later. Why do I still want to learn Japanese? And now there are more reasons for it. So at first, you know, when I started learning, I had not developed a passion for language learning, specifically Japanese learning, right? For the method itself. And now I have. At the time, what I was in love with really was the notion of someday I could speak, I could read, I could listen to in Japanese fluently. Now, I still have that, and it's stronger than ever, but not only now, there are more things to it, right? It's become really a vital part of my being. Like as corny and as exaggerated as that may seem, it's true. Like it really has become such a huge part of my life. Like I cannot go a day without like reviewing my words on Anki. Or like I always want to try to squeeze in some immersion time. And these are things that I'm going to talk about more like about my method and how my method evolved in another video. But really, I love studying Japanese. You know, at the core of it all, I love doing it. Regarding like things that I do, it's the thing that makes me the happiest. Really, because right now I still want to learn Japanese because I feel like I am taking a step towards my dream every single day. Measurable steps, concrete steps. And that's extremely fulfilling. Like deeply, profoundly fulfilling. Thinking that not only have I found what I want to do, but that I am doing it. Like it's not like, oh, I've always wanted to do this, but you know, no, I am doing it. I am taking actual steps in order to achieve my goals, my dream. And that feels wonderful. No, I take great pride in that. Like almost my ego is huge because of it. Right now, I love doing it. Like I love learning about what's comprehensible input, you know, learning about input versus output, like spaced repetition systems in order to memorize vocabulary, like grammar patterns. Like I love it all. Like the intricacies, things that I still haven't studied yet, or like I do not know, like the potential. Like I love how that I've been studying for such a long time, but I still feel like I don't know anything. But that's wonderful. I love like the people that I've met by doing this. Like shout out to Shiu in Discord, like my mentor really when it comes to this. Like he's been studying for like 8 years, and really like the people that I've met through this, and like to share this deep passion. It is a hobby. I could share this hobby, but I really think it's more than that. At least for me at this stage, it is more than that. I cannot imagine the future where I am not really good, fluent, the GOAT at Japanese. Like my goal keeps changing, right? Sometimes I'm thinking, okay, I want to be fluent, but what does that mean? Or sometimes I want to be capable of writing like 2,000 kanji. I want to be able to, never, or rather, to me, the main goal, it's a bit, which I don't recommend. It's a bit vague. I do recommend tangible, numerical goals. If you engage in not only language learning but anything else. Like my goal right now is to engage with Japanese the same way I engage with the English language. So right now I would say that I have absolutely no issue in any of the 4 ways of expressing language. So listening, reading, writing, and speaking. I feel at home with English with all of them. Arguably the same as my native language, Portuguese, right? So I want to get to that level with Japanese. And that's the thing, it's no matter how long it takes. Since I'm only doing it for myself because I like it, I have no deadlines. I'm not in a rush. I don't care if it takes me a decade. I'll be glad to spend a decade doing what I love every single day. I will be glad. I hope it lasts a decade. I hope it lasts a lifetime. There's always more to learn, and that excites me. That excitement drives me every single day. Japanese, I still want to learn it because it has provided me with a way that I can measure really my personal fulfillment without being attached to like a professional success. Like back then in 2022, I cared so much about my success in like my job. I wanted to be this or that, or I wanted to make this or that. Well, I still really do care, and I think about that probably way too much still. Japanese has given me, it is an escape, but it's not escapism. It has given me a vessel, through which I can express my actual, my favorite activity. It has given me a way to that, even if a day at my work sucks, like it doesn't matter because I measure how my days are going, or in a way, not obviously it's not like Japanese has taken over my life completely. I can't afford to do that. I still want to maintain my social relationships, and just in general, like in a equilibrium in my life. I cannot believe I forgot the adjective for equilibrium. I am appalled. But yeah, it's like it has given me a way to distance myself from practically all the pressures that I felt in 2022 before I started learning Japanese. I still feel those pressures and I think about them, but even though a lot of my girlfriend and my family still think that like I care way too much about those things, to me it's always in a more healthy way because I know that it's behind Japanese. I know that Japanese is number one, and Japanese is purely dependent on me. It has no external factors. I decide with my own hands how well it's going. Of course, like I only have a limited amount of time, but if I have given myself the leeway to take as much as I have to in order to reach my goals. I feel at peace all the time because of that. I still get stressed because of work shit. That's just, I can't help not being stressed. I can't help being stressed. That's me. I'm stubborn and I'm really ambitious, and I feel tons of pressure all the time. But Japanese grounds me so much. I do not know what I would be doing right now without it. Like it means so much, and it's cool. It really has practical applicability. Regarding the things that I've always loved. Like I'm watching anime with either Japanese subtitles or no Japanese subtitles, right? Like I can pick up light novels and read them and reach something that is deeply important to me, which is consume something the way that it's been intended to consume. As much as I like One Piece and Dragon Ball and Hunter x Hunter, Baki and whatever. I know that the way that I've consumed them before, with the translation in English, is not, those are not the author's words. And I'm a big purist when it comes to that. Huge purist. So I also take great amount of pride in knowing that now I can actually read the words like that as they were intended to. Now, I don't feel like I'm better than anyone because I can do so, or I have way less difficulty doing so. But I'm happy. That makes me really happy. The way that like I've progressed as a weeb, ever since I was a kid, and now I'm learning Japanese, which is extremely stereotypical for weeaboos, like these stands of Japanese culture. But I really am glad. So I don't know how well this video is going to turn out, like the thought process of it, but I think this is lasting 20 something minutes probably. I think now it's important, like, would I recommend learning Japanese for someone? Now, I haven't spoken about like the method, like what it takes, like the struggles, like my how I've changed the way I've approached it. I think that's a separate video. This is more like the philosophical reason of why I study Japanese, or rather, before I get to my couple last points, I want to introduce another reason why I do still want to learn Japanese, and really that is to connect with another culture. Like learning a language. This is really based on language learning. Most of what I said by now could be like attached to anything else. Like I could pick up running or a new sport, or I started reading more or playing a musical instrument. Like I started playing the piano 2 years ago. Like the appreciation, the deep fulfillment that I've talked about can be associated with those things as well. But to specifically language learning, it has added to my identity, in a weird way, where I feel like I'm getting closer to a culture that is so different from mine. Like I feel like I'm not trespassing into it, because that is a thing that I worry about a lot. That I could again speak on it another time, but I really feel like I am expanding my horizons every day. I'm coming into contact with ideas, speech patterns, culture in a way that I previously haven't, right? As well, yes, I've learned English as well, but me, and you're probably watching this video if you're not a native, probably learned it by watching YouTube videos. You just subconsciously picked it up. But now I am consciously and actively pursuing to understand it. And that leads me to engage with it in a much more complex way. It makes anyone engaging with the language in a much more complex way, right? So I really feel like intellectually I'm gaining a lot by learning Japanese. And this happens with learning any language. Again, like it's great mental stimulus, and it's such it feels like a grand challenge to me. Maybe it's because it's Japanese, maybe it's because of just the way I think. I don't know, but it really feels like I am taking huge steps in this social cultural tapestry, and it's a ton of fun. So yeah, maybe above all else, I love it, and it's so much fun. So should you learn Japanese, right? I've talked about all the good things about it. There are probably bad things about it, but I don't really think about them. And if they are, they're inconsequential, really, compared to everything else that I've spoken to thus far. And the video, is titled "Why I Started Learning Japanese," not why I would want to stop learning Japanese. So should you learn it? Should you pick it up? Either it's Japanese. Well, you can answer this question multiple ways, right? But really, I have to question back, right? Do you want to learn Japanese? Right? This is really the answer to that question is another question. It's like, what do you want to do? If do you want to learn Japanese? Like, actually, then do it. Start doing it. Um, Wait. Okay, I had to stop the video. But yeah, it's like, do you want to learn Japanese? Like, do you actually want to learn Japanese? Then do it, right? Like, just start doing it, and I can apply this to. Sorry, there's just like I've got this a bunch in the past minute or so, but there's like noise next to the window that I'm next to, so yeah, it was just distracting me. But yeah, if like the main what you should take away from this video is it's the simple messages, like just do what you want to do. If you are thinking about or attempting to like pick up a new hobby or a subject, like anything that you've been interested in or subconsciously you've been interested in, like I never thought too deeply about learning Japanese, like for a long time. It wasn't like this dream that I've always had. No, it wasn't, but subconsciously it was. So if you do think that you have something like that, you start singing, start drawing, start writing, anything, you should start doing it. Because what matters really at this point, like I love the process more than I think I will love the result. Of course, I do it for the result. I want to be able to act fluently with Japanese, but I really love the process more than anything. And I do think if you truly love what you want to take, what you want to pick up, then you will feel the same way. So should you learn Japanese? If you want to, yes. If you don't, then that's okay. And you can just pick up something else. Like, you don't have to either pick up another language because you feel like you have to. That's, like I just like I did years ago. Like, you don't need to pick up French because either it's going to make you more presentable to other companies, or you feel like it would be good for, I don't know, you feel like it's going to help you with anything else. Like, you should do it because it's fun, it's cool, you like doing it, it's going to be your thing. Like, you're going to spend time with it, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it. I don't know. To me, it makes a lot of sense in my head in retrospect. But I hope that you were able to learn something, from what I was speaking. Like, that's essentially why I wanted to make this video. In general, I wanted to make this video and more videos about learning Japanese, just to document my journey, and to maybe immortalize some thoughts that I have instead of just writing it on a server I have with myself on Discord. I think it's much more interesting to, just stay here and speak. So, like I was saying, I've wanted to make this video because I just feel like this is a more interesting way to express myself and to like immortalize a lot of ideas I have in my head. I do want to make more videos about, learning Japanese. I don't know when's the next one coming out. Like, the goal of making this and other videos I have in my head is, no format, no bullshit, just pure, genuine, meant to phone content. I really don't want to be bogged down by details and just put shit out there. I hope someone connects with it. Be one of my friends that will eventually watch this video first, or other people that might find this video for whatever reason, whether you're thinking about learning Japanese or picking up anything else, I really think just do it. And yeah, I think making this video was a lot of fun. I hope I'll make more soon. Not about learning Japanese, most likely. I want to do a lot of things, but I think I will make a small, maybe make a video on that as well. But yeah, this was Duarte no Nihongo no Benkyo Daichi, episode 1. And see you soon. Yeah, have a good one.